On today with King Randall, who runs X for Boys. Thanks for joining me today, man.
I appreciate you for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a couple posts you had last week on Twitter. I think it might have been the week before, but it was
hmm
concerning. So there's been a lot of discussion, some of which I think you've been a part of online over the last couple of weeks about who's doing work in the community and XYZ and how do we fix problems in Black America. I actually did a special on this not too long ago.
hmm
And we kind of looked at this vis-a-vis some of the deaths that have occurred within the hip hop community, and
hmm
if this is some sort of issue, I guess more broadly with the Black community, et cetera, and how do we start to unwind these issues and roll back this violence that's taken place. And it was
hmm
sort of a conversation starter. So I guess this conversation with you and I is sort of a continuation of that. And you're somebody who has taken on the mantle of being involved personally and doing quite a bit to become involved in your local community and actually make a difference on the ground. You're somebody who's very knowledgeable in this based on your own experience. So let's just kind of start here. I mean, based on what you do, what you see with the kids that you're working with, as far as solutions on fixing disadvantaged communities throughout the U.S., where would you start? What's that look like for you?
I would definitely start by taking children out of their environments. That is the best, most popular, in my opinion, solution, that I think will help our communities. We have to remove children from where they are. Many of the issues that I've seen with the students that I'm working with, um, they've all been circumvented when you take them away from their environment. Even children from the juvenile court system, children that have committed different crimes, etc., violent and nonviolent, you take them out of their environments, they turn into a different child. And a lot of them are forced to be what they are in those environments because that's all they know. A lot of children have been exposed to many different things. A lot of them are only with their moms. They are only with their grandmas or aunties, and they don't have any male figures around. I always say every man should be responsible for at least one child that's not his. I know how these guys like, oh, that's just being a good stepdad and blah, 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 like that. And I'm just like, dude, it has nothing to do with being anybody's stepdad. I didn't say date their mom. I just said take care of that child, if you can. People are like trying to blame women and, oh, well, women keep doing this and that. And I'm just like, women are going to act like the men that saturate the area that they're located in. So if we have good men saturating the area, then women will follow by their natural instincts. They naturally follow men. So if they don't have anybody to lead them, then that's where we take up, the charge and try and lead. And of course, removing social media from the faces of our children, our women and children. I think that's a huge issue, or even monitoring what's being watched on TV, what's being force fed into their brains. They start acting like these things and start, diagnosing themselves or what have you based off of what's being given to them by mainstream media, pop culture, and social media, etc. If we remove all those things from our children, give them new environments, such as how we have at our school, the students aren't allowed to watch TV. They don't do social media. They don't do cell phones, any of that stuff. And that's why our children are so well-rounded. And as soon as we send them back home, they get back on social media. They start doing all this other stuff. And we have to undo all that stuff when they come back from the break every time. But that's why I think, giving them a new environment is the way to go. If we're not giving new environments, if we're not remaining consistent with our children, or even in our families, that we will not see any significant change. I don't care how much work we think we're doing. If we're not being consistent and trying to remove these children and remove people from their environments and give them a new space and a new environment, we won't see any real changes. And I'm not just talking about even changing the system. I mean, literally eradicating the system and starting over. That's something I believe in, and how we could move forward and have solutions for our communities.
Now, at the beginning of this, I made the assumption that everybody watching would know who you are. But for those who may not know who you are and what you do, kind of give a rundown on what it is that you do right now.
Sure. My name is King Randall. I'm the founder of the X for Boys program and the Life Preparatory School for Boys. The Life Preparatory School for Boys is an all-boys boarding school. It is absolutely free of charge. We don't charge parents anything for their students to come to our school. It is also not government funded. It is not a public school. It's a private school. So we are exclusively funded from the community and myself and people that help us. That's how we make our school work. Our after-school program also does different things such as automotive repair, general contracting, firearms training, growing food, agriculture, you name it. We are teaching our students how to do these things, just on how to be a man. I think these things are basic skills that these children should know. And also we take them traveling. We do different things with them, and just to open their minds and try and get them to see that the world is, something special if you make it. And I'm just trying to create a mental model in boys where they feel like they cannot be defeated, especially if they put their best foot forward. And that's what I want for our boys.
I know I and many people across the country applaud you. I followed you for a while. I've actually wanted to talk to you for a while. I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. It's making a real difference, a measurable difference in the lives of these boys. Just basic things like how to tie a tie, how to change your oil aren't being taught. And these are life skills, not even for the purpose of joining a trade, but just to be able to function in life and be an independent individual who isn't relying on other people and who's able to help other people. Because if you can't even do these things yourself, you're not going to be of any benefit or use to anybody else. So it's great work you're doing. Let me ask you this. So in terms of our general culture and society, do you feel like there's a war against men right now?
Of course. There's a huge war against men. I know a lot of people saw like my meteoric rise at the beginning of, what I was doing. And that's mainly because people thought I was playing. They're like, ain't no way no 21 at that time, 21-year-old kid finna open no dang on school. But it sounds cool, so we're going to put them all over TV. And that's what it was. It's like, oh my God, you're going to open a school? You're 21, dude, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God. But then when it actually happened, they're like, oh, he was for real. He was dead serious. I'm like, yeah, I was so serious about that. And the things that I'm trying to teach our boys, mainstream does not want that. They do not want our boys learning how to be protectors and providers for their communities, walking around with confidence, and, basically trying to take back their communities and standing up against government tyranny and things like that. They are scared of all men my age, for the most part, starting any revolutions. Most people who started those revolutions were around my age back in the civil rights era, and the Spartans, the Romans, whatever, they were young men that they were afraid of. So, that's what they're trying to do to our boys now, is to soften them in this whole, we need to act off of our emotions and feel this and feel that and all these feelings and stuff like that. I'm like, nobody said don't feel your feelings, but don't allow it to consume you. And, we've been using a lot of these things that they've been giving us, as permanent alibis and permanent excuses as to why we aren't successful. Instead of saying I'm a loser, well, I'm a loser because I got depression, I'm a loser because I'm sad, and all that stuff. I'm like, no, you're a loser because you won't do anything. You won't do anything with yourself, and you think somebody's supposed to care, about your life more than you do. You have to get up and give a damn about yourself and get in the gym and make things happen and go take care of your community. Those are things that we should be doing on a daily basis. It shouldn't be hard. It should be easy. And even our women have gotten to a point where they're starting to, disrespect us and things like that. And we've been disrespecting women. It's just, that's the war that's been going on, and it's been purposely done. Of course, I don't buy into it. I even got into it on Twitter the other day with these guys who hate women. They're just like, oh, black women are this and that. And, look at these videos. And I had never seen the videos that they were showing me about, I didn't even know who Cynthia G was until this past weekend. And I was telling those guys, I'm like, dude, you saturate the algorithm shows you what you look at the most. So if you're looking at, women who hate men and all that stuff all day, then that's what you're going to see on your timeline. I'm like, I've never seen these types of women. The women in my life, I have no issue with. They do just fine. They provide me peace. I provide protection and stability. That's what's supposed to happen. So I'm from my mom, my grandma, and any other woman I deal with, I make their lives better, and that's what it's supposed to be, so I don't know where they found those women at, but, good women do exist, but that's not what they're going to show us on mainstream. And most of the time, those good women are not loud. They're not on social media. Most of the women in my circles do not do social media. They have less than 1,000 followers. If they do social media, like it's not posting pictures and all that stuff. I'm like, you guys are trying to force Instagram models to be wives. That's not where you look for it at. They're like, oh, you should want to date men like me. I'm like, dude, you don't even go to the gym and you're fat and sloppy. I'm like, and you don't have a job. Why do you think this woman is going to want to submit to you? Just be honest. So I mean, I can go all day, but that's pretty much, yeah, it's definitely a war against men. And I think in general, it's a war on our minds, I would say. And it's creating these realities of war for our genders.
So you were saying that you think that this war is being perpetrated intentionally. Mm-hmm. Given that, I mean, who would you say is responsible for it, and what's the motivation?
I guess I could say the system is, responsible for it. Do understand when the family structure is not sound, you can create slaves easily, because dad is the one, who gives you that mental model where you grow up and can fend for yourself and think for yourself and do for yourself. When they remove that family structure, or even just moms and grandpas and whatever in villages, they've removed all that. So now you're effectively being raised by YouTube and social media, etc. So they're able to juice you up with these things all day, and now you've become what they need, another slave in the system who won't listen, who will listen to everything they say on TV and everything that pops up on social media, you believe, and things like that. You're taught not to question things and stuff like that, or want to go do things for yourself. So, yeah, the system is obviously trying their hardest to make sure that we remain slaves. And that's the only way we're going to be able to do that is if they could.
Yeah, so I lost you there for a second. We had some technical difficulties. I'm not sure exactly where it cut, but I got you back on the line here. So I wanted you to kind of just jump in and maybe finish connecting that thought for us on
Sure.
who's responsible for the destruction or destabilization of men in this country, and then what would be the possible motivation on why they would want to take functioning men out of society.
Well, functioning men were the ones who always started the revolutions, who started the wars, who started, to rebel against government tyranny. And then also teaching the children to think for themselves and families to think for themselves. Once you have a system in a country or a people who are easily manipulated, being that you're taking fathers out of the homes, and they're easily manipulated via social media, via YouTube, via whatever. All these people are being raised by, social media effectively and TV effectively and mainstream media and what they're putting in the public school system. You're creating more slaves and to do exactly what you want them to do. It's just an easy way out from, from people thinking for themselves. And of course, no government wants anybody to think for themselves. They want slaves. And in order for us to not, go into that mental model, we have to have male figures in the home whom have their head on their shoulders and whom are following God. And I think that's extremely important.
So for people who would want to get involved, who maybe aren't in a position to start a school, what would you say are easy ways that people can start becoming more involved and making a difference in their own local communities?
I know that many men don't have children. I know a lot of men who don't have children. And I know a lot of men who have a lot of time. And I always say, again, every man should be responsible for at least one child that's not his. Go find a family to feed. Go find a kid you see walking home from school every day and go talk to his mom and ask, can you take him to school every day? He's just little small stuff like that. It's really small stuff. I always say be selfless. As a man, do something for somebody that doesn't benefit you every day. And I think that's where all of us can start. And a lot of our boys just do need somebody in their ear, and that's good and not bad. So because they're going to mimic whatever man they see around them, or they'll mimic the only people they see around them, because if they don't have any men around them, then they're going to mimic their moms and every female in their area. Or if they do have any men that aren't any good, then they're going to mimic those men. And that's how you create this vicious cycle of what's happening with our boys. But if we have men in our communities who go and get some of these boys and try and talk to them every day and be consistent with them. I'm not talking about once a week or twice a week. I mean, like almost every day if you can, and develop a relationship, with these children and become like a father figure. And it's okay. Don't listen to these guys telling you, oh, that's just being a stepdad and that's not holding Black women accountable. Well, I'm going to be talking about that all day, and the kid needs help. I can't help. He can't help what his mom did, but you can help him make better decisions, so and that's where I am. I want our communities to be better, not sit here and try and point fingers at who's worse and who did the worst and who did whatever. We could just go and fix our communities. And again, it's little small stuff. It doesn't have to be starting a school. It doesn't have to be holding kids in your house or anything like that. You could just simply do something. And that's like making somebody smile every day, finding a family to feed, whatever. Just do something. It doesn't have to be anything massive, but you start off small, just like I did, and I grew. I grew with just wanting to do it. And that's the main thing, just wanting to do it. If you truly want your community to be better, you could just go do it.
Yeah. One final question here. So let's just say this video would find somebody who is in a situation where they're a young person and they need help. They don't have a father figure. They don't have anybody who's stepping in to intervene to provide any sort of counseling to them or teach them these things, these life skills. If a video like this would find that person, find their way to their phone and they see it, what advice would you have for them?
I'll give the same advice I give to a lot of the boys in my program, especially the teenage boys. It always sounds a bit harsh, but it's just the reality of where we are. Nobody's going to care about your life more than you. And regardless of your situation, do understand that the most successful people, the greatest people, the most awesome people, the most outrageously gifted people all had stories. They all had traumas. They all had things that they went through. If you're going through something extremely bad and extremely tough, then obviously there's something that you need to be doing that's going to be amazing in your life, that you're supposed to touch the earth with something. So when I hear all the stories about all the bad things you may have been through, I always say congratulations, because now you have all the tools to make you successful. And that's what I believe in. Nobody's going to care about your life more than you. You have to care about it and want to get out your situation. If you truly didn't like where you were, you get out of it. And that's what I believe in. So for boys, especially teenage boys who want to get out of it, make sure your mind is occupied. I always say that too. Find something to do. And that's how you can, beat sadness and beat frustration and beat anger, is when you're doing something, because it's just like a plane. A plane moves and defies gravity off of speed. It's always moving. When it stops moving, it goes down. So literally, if you don't stop moving and you find stuff to do every day, as a man should be doing, you won't find time to be sad. You won't find time to go down. You'll only be going up. So that's the advice I usually give. I don't do the sympathy stuff or nothing like that. You call your mom for that. That's not what granddad taught me. You got to get up and go get it. And you have to want it yourself. Nobody's going to want it for you. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you, and nobody cares about your feelings but you, being honest. So.
Well, that's a winning message. And King Randall, if people want to find you and scream at you, where can they find you?
My name is King Randall. You can type me in on Google. You can find me at New Emerging King on all social media platforms. And also you can go to our website at thexforboys.org. That's THEXFORBOYS.org to find our website, see all the things that we teach our boys in our galleries, see our pictures and videos. You can go order merchandise, whatever you like. It's on our website at thexforboys.org.
Well, thank you for everything that you're doing, man. You're being a blessing to a whole lot of people. And thanks for joining me today. I appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate you, Adrian. Thanks so much.